Once upon a time there was a princess who was so beautiful and sweet she was called Princess Most Sweet. All the king's men adored her and wished to be her Prince Charming, but most were too intimidated by her beauty, sweetness, and intelligence, not to mention that her father was king. They were too afraid to ask her out. One day, Princess Most Sweet, commonly known as PMS, was walking through a field of lavender singing. A handsome, daring young prince, known as Prince Charming, the Terrific and Victorious, or PCTV for short, came riding by on his white stallion. When PCTV and PMS saw each other, they immediately fell in love. Within a very short time their love grew, and soon the charming, daring PCTV asked for the princess's hand in marriage. It was a grand wedding, and the equally marvelous honeymoon. For months their storybook romance continued to be a storybook romance. She adored him, he worshipped her. Their lives were perfect. But one day the beautiful PMS walked into the royal bathroom and noticed the toilet seat was up and there was toothpaste splatters all over the royal mirror. She was immediately distressed. "How can this be?" she asked herself. "My Prince Charming is perfect. He could never do anything to displease me. And yet this seems to be evidence that he has indeed displeased me." She knew what she had to do. She would verbalize her displeasure, then surely he would never again displease her. Princess Most Sweet walked into the royal TV cave, where Prince Charming was playing his favorite game on his laptop computer while watching his favorite royal team be creamed by their arch rivals. Prince Charming, the Terrific and Victorious, was not having a good day. There had been many dragons to slay that day, and all he really wanted to do was watch TV, play his games, and be left alone. In walked his beautiful wife, which he had noticed hadn't combed her hair that day and had a nasty frown on her face, not at all sweet-looking. She also had on her royal sweatpants, rather than her fitted but flowing princess gown. He hoped she would see his exhausted posture and offer him his favorite drink from the royal refrigerator and make his favorite meal from the royal kitchen. But that was not what happened. PMS had negotiated her own dragons that day. Plus she felt bloated and uncomfortable, which is why she had on her royal sweatpants. She was hoping for some understanding and sympathy herself. Those of you who live in the real world, not a romantic enchanted kingdom, can guess what happened next. It wasn't pleasant, let me assure you. It ended with beautiful PMS crying and running out of the TV cave, screaming, "Now I understand what my parents meant about you. They told me I'd regret marrying someone with the nickname PCTV." PCTV sat steaming in his favorite chair, realizing that PMS had other meanings besides Princess Most Sweet. He typed out a short email to his dad, the king in the bordering country. Prince Charming's dad was a wise king and responded, "Son, all couples have disagreements if they stay together long enough. Look for ways to grow from the disagreements. Become a better man. She matters to you more than your TV and PC, doesn't she?" There is always going to be dragons to slay, but PMS isn't your enemy, even if it seems that way right now. When you are calm, apologize, tell her you love her, you'll feel better, and so will she. Meanwhile, PMS texted her fairy godmother, who appeared as soon as she received the message, even though she was working second shift at the local diner to make ends meet. Hey, finding work as a fairy godmother isn't easy these days. After listening to PMS sob out her story, the fairy godmother said, "Sounds rough. Unfortunately, there is no perfection, except for fairy godmothers. And believe me, honey, we all have our challenges. Let's put this fight in perspective. Take care of yourself with a bubble bath. When you have calmed down and pampered yourself a little, a raised toilet seat and a few splatters on a mirror won't seem like a big deal. I love you. Now I have to get back to work." The two young people took the advice and lived happily ever after, most of the time. The moral of the story is when PMS meets PCTV, romantic fantasy goes out the window, and couples discover the joys and the challenges of real romantic love. That's all for now.